Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we have an exclusive interview with Michael J. Brown, Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development, for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are delighted to welcome to the program for the first time, and I am sorry it has taken so long to get you here, Michael Brown. He is now the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Absolute pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
It's great to finally be here.
So just a little history. You joined Barrick Gold Corporation in 1995, and you ended up serving as the company's senior executive in the United States. First question, why in the world, after this career, did you decide you wanted to get into state government?
Well, I wanted to give back in some way. I don't know, I wanted to do something in the area of public service, whether it was charity or government or something, and Barbara Buckley called me after I announced my retirement and asked if I'd consider joining the Sisolak administration. And she said we were interested in you for either GOAD or to lead business and industry, and I said, oh, I'd love to lead business and industry, and now I lead GOAD.
Well, and nobody argues with Barbara Buckley. Yeah. And just a little more history, you actually served 8 years in the Reagan administration of the Treasury Department.
I did. I was special assistant to the director of the U.S. Mint. I was the youngest political appointee at 23 years old in the Treasury. And in my office there at the Treasury at the Mint was a lithograph of the Carson City Mint. So fate started early to bring me to Nevada.
All right, so let's talk about GOAD. Obviously, in the last few years, we have seen, thank goodness, after the recession, incredible growth in the Silver State, not only in southern Nevada, but also in northern Nevada as well. But there is now, under a new administration, Economic Development 2.0.
Yes.
Can you share with us what you've learned so far, and share with us what I know is your thoughts on the learning curve that you've had to adopt?
Well, it's been an interesting 3 months. This is a unique time to be in economic development. After Amazon 2's headquarters decision, where it landed in Washington, D.C., after canvassing 250 some cities, it's caused a lot of people to rethink economic development and the approach to it. The Cleveland Fed put out a report and said, now's the time to do it because we're at full employment, the economy's healthy. It's a moment to pause and take a look at how economic development structure structured and go forward. And that's what we're going to do here in Nevada. That's what we're doing right now in Nevada.
And you know, some would look at it and say that we've been just giving away too much in terms of benefits to companies that want to locate here, and Amazon was probably the largest example of that, with cities and states across the nation competing and offering all manner of things. New York City turning down Amazon because it was just too much. On the other side of that, for example, with Tesla, to see the growth that has occurred because of Tesla and, in quotes, the Tesla effect, those jobs wouldn't have been here without Tesla. Are we at a point in the state where we don't need to have another, and I don't literally mean Tesla, but another Tesla-type project for us to continue healthy growth in the state from what you've seen so far?
Tesla was a unique moment in time. I keep an editorial from the Reno Gazette-Journal in my office, a front page headline, and it says, "Is Reno the next Detroit of the West?" And having grown up in the Rust Belt, you know, I watched the steel companies close when I was a teenager, and then I watched the automobile factories close. Governor Sisolak and I we're both the sons of United Auto Workers whose fathers lost their jobs in 1982 and what it did to the family. So Reno was Tesla was transformational for Reno. It has produced social costs in housing and transportation that we're now trying to get over the hump on. I don't know that policymakers in 2010 had any other options, though, than to go forward. On the issue of incentives, mining was never eligible for incentives. We were offered one when we built the power plant in Story County, and I turned it down. Maybe one of the only corporate executives in the world to turn down an incentive, because we needed, at that point, Story County was very poor and it needed the sales taxes. Policymakers are looking at this and they're going, this is turned upside down. We should be talking about workforce. We should be talking about community college training programs, apprenticeships. We shouldn't really be talking about incentives at this point, not at full employment.
Is the other side of it too that we have an abundance of riches, and that, as Mike Kazmierski of EDON talks about, that we should be looking at higher paid jobs rather than just jobs?
Oh, Mike Kazmierski, he's my hero. I mean, he just marches forward and you know, is making things happen here in Reno. I'll tell you, we should be looking at higher paying jobs. We saw statistics the other day that 60% of Nevada workers still make less than $20 an hour. I mean, that's really not acceptable. So yes, now's the time to be pivoting and trying to figure out, if we're going to bring new employers here, how do we bring new employers at higher wages, higher salaries?
And initial thoughts?
I would, if we're going to stay in the incentives, and of course the legislature changed this. Under AB 400, it now takes a 2/3 vote to grant a relief of the school tax. This is seemingly the most unnoticed piece of legislation, because I'm having to remind companies as they come into my office that they now have this new threshold. You know, I'm still learning this business, so what I did in December is I went back to Washington, D.C., and I met with Pew and Urban and Brookings and Good Jobs First and National Governors Association to talk to them about what's going on in this space, because like I say, Amazon's too has caused people to rethink this. The real focus has to be on workforce, training programs, strengthening apprenticeship programs, strengthening our community colleges. We have 100 occupations of need here in the state, and in over half of them, the requirement is more than high school and less than a 4-year degree. That's the space that economic development needs to focus in. Somehow across the country, it had all been a debate about incentives, and it needs we need a much more robust debate.
The education portion obviously is extremely important. We have seen both in the North and South companies reaching out to the university systems, the community college systems, to either provide funding or at least to point them in the direction of, these are the workers we are going to need. And the building industry, for example, is reaching into high schools to be able to say, you don't necessarily need a 4-year degree. You can make a great living by coming into an apprenticeship program. And I can certainly say my daughter is an electrical contractor. She got her start as an apprentice in the electrical business, and it worked out really well for her.
Well, and I'm pleased to be a graduate of Lorain County Community College of Elyria, Ohio, and I know the important role community colleges play, and I think we need to strengthen our effort for a high school student to start their community college program while they're in high school, so that they can get college credits while they're in high school, move through that community college program. The governor likes to say that when you graduate from high school, you have three choices. You can go to college, you can learn a trade, learn a skill, or you can join the military. And we have to put our young people on one of those three tracks.
As you look at this, you were mentioning housing and transportation as two of the biggest issues. Is that statewide or in particular in Northern Nevada?
It's statewide, and it's statewide certainly in the western states that are growing. I tend to use Utah and Colorado as benchmarks because they're western states approximately the same size and they're growing states. I mean, there's a housing crisis in Cleveland, but it's very different. They're tearing down homes because the jobs aren't there. So, I think we need to understand that, we're in a much stronger economic position. One of the things that I have implemented since I got there is GoEd was a bit siloed in state government. It tended to function by itself, just working with the governor. And I've really embraced the rest of the cabinet, particularly my old department, Business and Industry, which controls the private activity bonds, which are used in housing. And the governor has really prioritized using our private activity bonds for affordable housing projects here in Reno and down in Las Vegas. It is a statewide problem. It's also a problem in the rurals.
All right, so let's just take this piece of it. The biggest problem right now that we see is not enough workers in construction. So, you can put a bunch of money into affordable housing, but how do you get the builders to be able to look at that rather than middle-income housing or higher-end housing where there's more profit to be made?
Yeah, this is something we are simply going to have to work through. The late Senator Debbie Smith, when this legislation was passed and back in 2010, 2012, she was concerned that there would be these costs, and it was realized. And I wish I had a magic wand to solve it. We just have to kind of work through it each day.
I talked to John Frankovich from McDonald Carano because he was around in the late 70s when the MGM opened in Reno. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a fascinating historical perspective because everything that's happening now happened in 1978 through the early 80s, which is the MGM opened. It was only 1,000 rooms, but for Reno at that time, it was an incredible boom. There were 4 other properties that either opened or were refurbished at the same time. There were workers sleeping in tents on the Truckee River because there was no housing available. There were only party lines for the phones, for those that remember party lines on phones.
I remember party lines.
And I asked him, well, how did we get through that? And he said, over time, it worked itself out. Yeah. Big builders came in. They saw the opportunity and they resolved the issue. Do you see that situation occurring again now? Because we have other situations where, because of the fires in California, the floods in Texas and Florida, that we've had all kinds of issues that have created a great need for housing. And do you see that being resolved in any time soon?
Well, this is, Senator Ratty, and I got to work with Senator Ratty in the legislature, prioritized housing. We prioritized tax credits for housing. We have shifted the private activity bonds into housing. Those kinds of resources weren't available then. However, I also think that the Reno market is now tied solidly to Silicon Valley and tied solidly to, the I-80 corridor all the way across to San Francisco. And so I think we will see a continuing growth, in that area, and we're just going to have to continue to step up and try to meet those challenges.
As I talk to industry leaders privately, they're all telling me that 20 years of growth is not out of the question. In some cases, maybe even 30 years of growth continuing in Northern Nevada. Is that where you see it?
Yes. One of the things I'm trying to also do at GoEd is that they were very much focused on the deals, and yet we have a research division that Bob Potts leads, and I like to call it the Easter egg that I found when I got to GoEd, this incredible research division. And we're trying to share that information so that there's better planning across the entire cabinet. Governor Sisolak's taken steps now to, most cabinet agencies tended to function by themselves. I now lead, along with Craig Von Kallenberg, a joint workforce and employment task force that within the cabinet that's trying to address these issues longer term. We're watching and trying to analyze boomer retirement. When we hit peak boomer retirement, I think is like 2028, and we're seeing that in Henderson and Reno as we have large numbers of Californians moving here. One area that it has concerned me the most is we're seeing major gaps in medical care. Californians are moving here, but they're not bringing their doctors, they're not bringing their dentists, they're not bringing their ophthalmologists. And so one of the things that you'll see come out of the new state economic development plan is a priority in the area of healthcare also, which ties back into issues like occupational licensing. It's just kind of a series of dominoes that you have to put in motion to solve these problems.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and
Certainly.
we'll talk about some of these issues. We'll be right back.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully's Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia. Yeah.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Michael Brown. He's the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Transportation.
Yes.
Let's start out in Southern Nevada. It's been discussed for years, but Marilyn Kirkpatrick on this program said a couple of months ago that she felt that within potentially the 10 years she has left on the county commission that Ivanpah would be a reality. Do you see it the same way? And if so, we're talking a huge community being built out in that Ivanpah Valley, the need potentially for light rail between Ivanpah and Las Vegas. This is not small.
Yeah, and I'll be one of the first public officials to say that I'm not an expert in that area. I don't know a lot about that. I did meet with the county about 2 weeks ago, and the deputy county manager made it clear that the airport is Southern Nevada's future and very important as we get into strategic planning going forward. So we've definitely flagged it and expect that Marilyn Kirkpatrick is visionary, and I suspect she's right.
In northern Nevada, one of the biggest problems we have is the I-80 corridor, obviously between the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center and Reno-Sparks. Lee Gibson, who was the former executive director of the Regional Transportation Committee, who just retired, said on this program that he didn't see federal funding coming our way for an expansion of I-80, and that it was going to have to be paid for locally and regionally. Have you had a chance to look at that issue at this point?
I have not looked at that. I know that the major priority right now is the I-11, connecting Las Vegas to Phoenix, and then trying to connect Las Vegas to northern Nevada. I have not looked at that. I will tell you, when I was in the mining business, we had the same. I had to move 4,000 employees to and from Elko to rural mine sites on county roads, and so it often we ended up running, oh my gosh, we had about 30 buses. We were running our own little transit agency just to get our employees there. So it may fall to the employers to look for some creative solutions. I did go out there at shift change at about 6:30 in the morning and I could see the dramatic impact that's going on out there.
And if rumors are true, that potentially we could see autonomous trucks being built out at TRI, at the Tesla factory, that would just add even more traffic.
Yeah, I've not heard about the autonomous trucks. So
the potential for that building is 16 million square feet.
Certainly.
That's a pretty large building.
It is, and but I realize that it's put some stresses there. I went back to Cleveland in November. They have much different challenges there. So they would like to have a transportation challenge.
Oh, listen, an embarrassment of riches. I am the last person. I am pro business and pro growth, and I think that this is the most incredible time that Nevada has seen since the gold rush.
Yes, it's an incredible time. Lots of opportunities being created.
All right, let's take another break and we'll be right back.
Okay, certainly.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Michael Brown. He's the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. So you're in the early phases of putting together a state plan.
We are. The GOED operates under the authority of the state plan. The board has to adopt policies in conformance with the plan. The current plan was written in 11, based on 10, and released in 12. So it is woefully out of date. We put the band back together of Brookings and SRI and another consultant to help us, and we're in the process now of redrafting the state plan.
And what is your initial thoughts coming out of these discussions?
You're going to see one that is much more focused on workforce and trying to align our existing workforce with job opportunities.
Are you looking to bring in additional workforce? I mean, for example, we have an unemployment rate in this country that is at 3% or below, which is virtually zero unemployment.
Yes.
We have an immigration policy that is not allowing us to bring in the people that we need on any level. Is there a hope that we may see changes on a federal level because of Nevada's connections to this president and his cabinet?
I will say this. I'm going to look at a different end of the telescope. The governor said in his State of the State speech that Nevada's success hasn't reached every Nevada family's dinner table. And there are zip codes in southern Nevada where we haven't seen economic recovery. And so we need to build the kind of training programs that will take those folks, give them the skills they need for those jobs. The most expensive thing we can do is to import workers from other states. We need to find ways to bring our Nevada workforce through apprenticeship programs, community colleges, and four-year universities to meet to get the jobs that already exist here in Nevada.
In addition to that, we lost an entire Hispanic construction workforce during the recession. They were gone because there was no work. Are we seeing that flow coming back to Nevada because now the work is here? And there's so much, I mean, $20 billion plus in Southern Nevada. I think I saw a number the other day, $16 billion plus in Northern Nevada.
Yeah, we've seen a return of a lot of Nevada workers. When I opened Barrick, when we moved Barrick's IT facility out of Toronto to Henderson, about half the folks we hired for that IT facility were folks that had left the state during the Great Recession and returned. Home does mean Nevada for a lot of folks, and they have been returning.
All right, so we're coming to the end of this discussion. I would love for you to come back soon.
I'd love to come back. It's great fun.
And also, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to, and I know it's not your job now, but I'd love to talk about the mining industry, lithium. There's so many things that you're an expert on, and you're not involved in the industry at this point.
Yeah, my mining career feels like 1,000 years ago. That's what a year of government service will do for you. It feels like 1,000 years ago.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it, and we'll be right back. A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.